Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Monday evening LifeWave presentation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Merle Westcott and I live in Durban, South Africa. And I'm a Senior Presidential Director in LifeWave. So I joined LifeWave in December 2022, and I had no intention of ever telling anybody about our little patches, which look a little bit like a plaster. So they really are very tiny, but they're incredibly powerful. But I'm going to let Alex tell you all about what they do. But when I started patching, I said I was done with multi-level marketing, but the product sounded amazing. So I was going to use it, but that was it. And by February of the following year, I realized what I had my hands on and the fact that I needed to tell people about it. Because if I didn't spread the news, I was doing people a disservice. And that was because a long-time client of mine who started patching, spinal cord started repairing. And she had not driven a car in 12 years. She'd pretty much been bedridden. And within 5 weeks, she was driving her husband's car. She has just come back from her third international trip since she started patching, and her life has changed completely. So that was my motivation to start spreading the word. And I have seen so many miracles since. So I'm going to hand over to Alex to introduce herself, and then Alex is going to do the product part of the presentation, and I'm going to go into the business. So over to you, Alex.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. Um, so I was introduced to LifeWave by Merle. It's almost 2 years now. It'll probably be 2 years in June. I was enormously skeptical and seriously disinterested. Um, I didn't believe it was real. And so I did a lot of research because a friend's brother developed dementia at 66 years old, and the family was desperate. And so I got involved looking for a solution for them because normal medicine or regular medicine doesn't have an answer to that. And that led me down a complete rabbit hole of clinical stuff and information about the company, which I spent a long time looking at and doing. And I had to conclude that A, the product does what it says it will do, and that B, the company is honorable, ethical, financially stable, well established. And so, despite the fact that I am not a multi-level marketing person at all, I either had to have access to the technology, which is mind-blowing, or cut off my nose to spite my face because I didn't like the vehicle that it came in. So that's how I'm here.
And perhaps you could tell people what your background is.
Okay, I'm a nurse. Okay, but from very long ago, and then many, many years in the pharmaceutical industry, and I've owned several of my own businesses, all related to health and wellness in some way, shape, or form.
Perfect. And that is how Alex could spend, I think, spent 3 months researching, and she knew what to look for because of all her years in the pharmaceutical industry. So she didn't just look at LifeWave information, but she'll tell you that, I'm sure. So let's jump into the presentation. I'm going to start screen sharing.
Just while Merle's doing that, in terms of research, they're researchers and researchers. So people who Google LifeWave and call that research are not researchers. Okay, so if you're going to look for stuff, then you must look properly and you must look at every source because no matter what you Google, you will find negative stuff about it. You've got to dig deeper than that and look at the source of where the information comes from. So we always ask at this point, have you been patched yet? This patch is designed to elevate, activate, and regenerate. So if you have, then you all know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, then this is exciting. It really is exciting. It's not like anything you've ever heard before. So David Schmidt, our CEO and inventor of X39, has over 200 patents now. He's a scientist and an inventor, and he's specializing in age reversal. He's quite the most extraordinary man. In 2008, David focused his attention on stem cell research, and stem cell research is currently about valued at about 206 billion internationally because it's the big next cash cow if somebody can find a way to do it. But we have. And the recent patent took 10 years and 4.5 million to bring to market. So this is patented technology. What does that mean? We all know what a patent means. You have to have unique information in order to be awarded the patent. And that information has to be backed up by the science or the details or the facts that support the patent. So in our particular situation, in terms of X39, part of what it says is that as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvement in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. That's quite something to have been proven sufficiently to earn a patent. Why stem cell activation patch? Why X39? The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. Hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging, and we all see that in the people we know and the worlds we live in. At age 30, only half your stem cells are active. That's quite significant. I never knew that. That was an eye-opener for me. And at age 60, you lose almost all your stem cell activity. So how does X39 work? It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So phototherapy is essentially light therapy. And phototherapy has been around for thousands of years. Some of you would have put your babies under lights. Some of you would have had infrared lamps given to you if you needed wound healing. So here, the source of light, or the source of infrared light, is your body's own infrared spectrum. The patch contains nanocrystal technology, nano meaning minute atomic size crystals that are arranged in a lattice work. And this lattice work contains sugar, salt, water, oxygen, and proprietary amino acids. So histidine, lysine, and cysteine. So there's nothing in that patch, no chemicals, no drugs, no stimulants. So it's non-transdermal. Nothing crosses into the body. So it's non-invasive. It's quite important to say, so what at this stage? So it means that it's really safe and it's simply a communication device. It is not medicine. It's not a pharmaceutical. It is not giving you anything except a message. So much like the sun gives us vitamin D, the sun itself does not give us anything. It interacts with the melanin in our skin, which sets up a biochemical process which manufactures vitamin D. This works the same way. The patch interacts, sends a message into our system, and that stimulates the production of a peptide called GHKCU copper peptide, which is a peptide that we normally have. We have lots of it when we are young, and it decreases as we age. So what are the benefits of X39? Increased strength, reduced inflammation. So all of these things, if you look at this list, are things that we lose as we age. And now suddenly here's an opportunity to get them back. Mental clarity, that's a big one and an easily recognizable one for lots of people. Improved sleep, improved skin appearance. So it's important to say that LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent any disease or medical condition. And that really is important. You can't make any medical claim in terms of X39. The only thing you can claim is that the patch does stimulate the production of your own stem cells. And that's clinically proven. So that's the only thing we can claim. So these are the results of a topographical map. Session 1, the 77-year-old woman had an inflamed brain with lack of brain coherence. You can see all the red and orange bits. After 3 weeks on X39, there's no more inflammation and improved brain coherence. Isn't it wonderful that we can see a picture like this that demonstrates? And by 6 weeks, a complete turnaround with better brain coherence. So you can see that the effect is cumulative. Quite an important point. The longer you keep the patch on, the more you use the patch, the more the efficacy increases and grows. So X39 long-term results, everything on this screen has been proven by a clinical trial. So not just an idea that somebody had. First few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. That is hugely significant. That's a first in terms of physiology or medical science. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. We've just seen pictures of that. So that would impact positively on people with anything like anxiety, depression, some of the neurodiverse things like ADHD and autism. There's huge potential there for things to be changed. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased, and collagen is not just part of skin and nails and hair. It's part of every single part of your body, your joints, your cardiovascular system, your lungs, your gut. It's absolutely everywhere. Collagen is the glue that holds us together. And as we age and our collagen quality and ability to repair and sustain itself is decreased, so things start to break or go wrong or not function as efficiently. So within 3 months, we're starting to increase our own collagen, which is far more bioavailable. It's right there than any kind of supplementation that you would take. So within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. So David Schmidt says this is not anti-aging, it is age reversal. How to wear X39. You wear your patch for 12 hours on and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. That's really, really important. Otherwise, there's a thing called attenuation. Your body gets used to the signal and will eventually stop responding to the signal. So the 12 hours on and 12 hours off is an important piece of information. Then you throw the patch away, or you give it to your pet, or your partner, or somebody else, even plants. Anything that emits light will benefit from the amount of activity that is still left in the patch, but the amount is not sufficient for you to use it for another whole day. Then you put a new patch on the next day and repeat. It really is just a habit that one has to establish. You can wear more than one patch at a time because LifeWave makes about 10 patches, but wearing one X39 at a time is sufficient. There's not enough clinical benefit from wearing two. So the most important part of the slide, apart from the 12 hours on and 12 hours off, is to drink plenty of water. You will directly impact the efficacy and impact of the patch, how much water you drink. This is essentially electricity. It needs to be conducted, and the better hydrated you are, the better the message will be conducted. So X39, so sophisticated, yet so simple to explain. Testimonies are life-changing and emotional. They really are. We hear some unbelievable stories, those of us that have been around a while. They are life-changing. And the most significant thing about X39 is that it absolutely works.
Thank you, Alex. Perhaps you could share your testimony because some people like me, I had a very fast result. So I had injured my shoulder in 2012. And in the first week that I patched, I had a remarkable improvement in my shoulder. Now, I used to go to the chiropractor at least twice a month. I used to also have massages, take anti-inflammatories, do a whole lot of things to try and control the pain in my shoulder. And yet I was never pain-free and I didn't have proper mobility. So, for example, I couldn't sleep with my arm under my pillow. I know you're not meant to do that, but I couldn't do that because it was too sore. I couldn't do triceps. There were all kinds of things that I couldn't do. And within a week, there was a remarkable change. And 2 and a bit years later, the changes continued. So now my shoulder doesn't really bother me at all. Although towards the end of last year, I actually fell in the States playing pickleball and I did something to my shoulder. And then I was back to my chiro and it was like more layers of the damage came to the surface and we healed them. And I'm even better now than I was before. So it's not nothing happens all at once necessarily, because stem cells are always going to repair where they need to first, and they are going to work in the order of priority which the body sees appropriate, not what you may think is appropriate. But Alex's story is quite remarkable.
Okay, so I very briefly, because I had done all the research and I certainly understand what stem cells do, I had a thing called polymyalgia, which is many inflamed muscles, which is an autoimmune, and that was just years and years and years of being inflamed and managing it with cortisone and anti-inflammatories and Lyrica and all sorts of stuff. And so when I had the knowledge that the patch actually produced or helped my body to to produce its own stem cells, I started using the patch for that. Um, I had some good days, I had some bad days. I had some days in which I was really sore and really uncomfortable, and some days in which I was terribly tired. But all in all, progressively, I just got better. But it did take me 10 months. And then I woke up one morning and was pain free from the polymyalgia pain. And that had absolutely changed my life. So at the times where I was struggling because it was uncomfortable and sore, I knew that it was repairing, and repairing um, takes energy. It can make you tired. Repairing is not a gentle process necessarily. Healing is not a gentle process necessarily. So I understood what was going on and I just persevered. And if I'd stopped any sooner than that, I wouldn't be here telling you that I was pain free. So my message is we're all different and you need to understand the healing modality and buy into the fact that this is a process, and your body will heal in its priority in its time. So that's my testimony.
Thanks, Alex. Caroline, hey, it's always nice to hear from you because then we have somebody from the UK talking.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm Caroline, I'm a homeopath and soon to be a herbalist, and I live in the UK, but I'm actually Danish. And I started patching a little bit more than a year ago. I was introduced to the patches by a very good friend, and we're both into alternative health. So the fact that she was talking to me about this made me think that it was worth looking into. But I was quite suspicious in the beginning, a bit like Alex. I didn't really see how that could all be safe, I guess, was my biggest worry. And so when I figured out that it was non-transdermal and that we're just talking about kind of helping our body to repair, then I got very interested. Personally, I had a very stiff knee. I'd been a bit like you, Mel. I'd been trying all sorts of therapies and nothing had really made it any better over several years. And I was just learning to live with it. And I think also, without really having noticed, a bit of arthritis had snuck up on me over time. And so when I started patching, I was hoping to sort my knee out, but what happened was a load of other things at the same time. Um, I wasn't a first a one patch wonder at all. It took me a little while to even feel anything. But a couple of weeks in, I was noticing that I was sleeping very much better. And, once you've done it 2 or 3 times in a row, you realize it's not a coincidence. And the fact that I was sleeping so well was also meaning that I realized I wasn't being woken up by the fact that my neck was so sore at night. I hadn't really noticed how bad it was, but sometimes I had to wake up at night and move my head manually I couldn't lift it. It was so stiff and sore from sleeping. So that stopped. And that's when I got excited. A couple of weeks in, then I started thinking I'm got less pain in my fingers. I can turn my head so much better. And I actually took the patches to my friend who's a kinesiologist and said, can you just check these things for me? And she said, "Oh my God, I can't believe the difference in you when you put these patches on." She could just feel my energy levels, my inflammation levels, everything just got better. And she couldn't couldn't get hold of the patches herself fast enough. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 weeks probably in, my knee was bending again, and so the little pains and niggly bits that I'd felt all over my body was just disappearing. And yeah, it's been a really amazing ride. I've had so many patients benefiting as well. And just on a personal level, the other day, I completely overdid it in the gym and started lifting a whole load of weight from, from 1 minute to the next. And I literally couldn't lift my arms up 2 days later. They were so sore. And I thought, that is it. I've torn my ligaments and, what have I done? Anyway, patches, Eon, X39 and some ice wave, and I'm good to go again. And that was just like in 2 days. And normally my husband was saying, that's it, 3 months, you have to don't do any, you might have to have an operation. I mean, he went down that rabbit hole. And I said, oh, be quiet. I'll just patch up. And sure as anything, I'm feeling completely fine again today. So that was another reminder of how powerful these patches are.
Fantastic. Thanks, Caroline. Who else would like to share? Nori, your menopause story would be good. And then who
Yes.
else would like to?
Well, if you're still hot flushing at 65, you need to be patched because I was one of them. And I thought menopause finished at 60, and then I realized that it never finishes until you do something different. And having been there, done that, I couldn't believe it that I actually managed to help myself reverse menopausal arthritis from the age of 55 to 60. But then when I got to 60, then whatever I was doing stopped working. And I thought, now, why is that happening? And so I went from not just hot flushes to having frozen shoulder, a chronic neck pain like Caroline was talking about, leaky gut, sore joints, brain fog, and chronic fatigue, like I felt like I was asleep when I was awake. And when I put the patches on, within 2 weeks, virtually all of those symptoms had disappeared. But the main thing that really struck me was that my brain fog was gone and I was wide awake with loads of energy. I stopped having my afternoon naps. I was still functioning healthily at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I thought, oh my goodness, I got my life back. And with that, my shoulder pain, my neck pain, my joint pain, everything started to get better. But the breakthrough for me was I actually realized that I was okay till I was 60. And then from the age of 60 to 65, the deterioration was so rapid, I was feeling very prematurely aged. And when I put the patches on, I realized it was the reactivation of the stem cells that was now giving me my life back, because whatever I was doing before, I continued to do, and now it was working. So to have that visible evidence of post 60 and the reactivation of your stem cells and what happens when that happens, and the fact that you've now gone into age reversal and that you can look forward to growing old and helping people and doing something positive with your life, which LifeWave gives you the platform to do, that you really do feel that your stem cells have given you another life. So I'm very grateful, and it's such a thrill for me to share every time I tell my story. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Nori. Kim's smiling. Are you wanting to share something, Kim?
No, it was just such a nice story. Like every time I'm here, I hear new things, from Caroline and from Nuri. And I'm also smiling because I just spoke to someone in the UK before our call, and everything that has been said here is speaking to a lot of her questions. So this is powerful. Thanks, Nuri.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Caroline.
Nice. Let's jump back into the presentation then. Let's go back.
Okay, so this is the website that you will go to, which is hugely comprehensive. There are fantastic videos on there. This is at info.com, so either take a photograph or write it down. There's all the clinical trials are on there, the patent is on there, interviews are on there, with medical doctors. Right down at the bottom, there's a whole panel of medical doctors. There's so much information there. So depending on how much you'd like to access, that's where you'll find out everything that you need to find out if you wish to, and it's really well presented.
Thanks so much, Alex. So as I said at the beginning of the presentation, when I started, I wasn't going to build this as a business. So I also come from a complementary healing background. I've been a life alignment therapist and teacher for 30 years this year, and I have been a nutritionist for 15 years. So I saw a webinar of David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals. That was all I saw. I knew nothing about the business. So 2023, when I thought I'm going to start telling people about Lifeway, because now my shoulders improved, and I told a friend and she signed up, and I thought, I better have a look at this company. We were then a 19-year-old company. We turned 20 last year. We're now open in over 80 countries. And the most exciting thing about Lifeway is we are not a Me Too product. Because of our patent, nobody else can produce what we have because all our products are patented. And X39 has another 15 years left on the patent. So no one else can produce a patch that is going to activate stem cells because they just can't. When the patent came out on X39, the company was doing about 20 million a year, and it had been for a few years. So in 2021, it was patented in 2020. In 2021, we did 20 million. 2022, we did 320 million. 2023, 430 million. And in 2024, we did over 600 million. We are on track to do over $1 billion in business this year. Now, we are also listed on businessforhome.org, which is an American site that lists over 100 multi-level marketing companies, as the #1 momentum company in the industry. Now, if you have a look at the graph there, you'll see that between 2018 and 2023, we grew by 3,000%. But both last year and this year, so 2024 and 2025, the company was awarded the Global Bravo Award for the #1 growth company in the industry. This year, we also moved into the top 25 performing countries. So we number 22 in the top performing companies in the industry. On this picture, you can see David Schmidt, who's our CEO, along with Meredith Burkett, our president, and Stephen Gina Merritt, who started This as a team. And they signed up also in 2022, about 6 months before I did. And they have completely transformed the company by the teams that they are building and the system that they're putting into place. For the first probably 17 years of the company, it was mainly medical doctors, naturopaths, homeopaths, chiropractors, nutritionists who were using the products in their practice. It wasn't normal. When I say normal people, it wasn't people who were lawyers and accountants and housewives who could just say to their friends, put this patch on your back and it is going to make a difference. But Steve and Gina have put a system together that's helped everybody go out there and change many, many people's lives. So at this point in the presentation, we always ask, what is most important in your life? Why are you on this presentation today? Is it because of freedom? Are you looking for time freedom, freedom to spend more time with your family? Do you want more security? What about travel? Both Caroline and Nuri have been on incentive trips. I was in Morocco with them last year, so they both know how the company supports you and rewards you if you achieve. Are you looking for better health? When I joined LifeWave, it was all about the health. I didn't know anything about the rest of it. Or what about less debt? Because LifeWave really can give you all of this. And it all starts with our amazing compensation plan. Now, I'm going to go over the compensation plan really quickly, and then I'm going to tell you where you can go and watch it in more detail, or the person who invited you to the call can explain more about it to you. So if you think, like Alex and I thought in the beginning, I never want to be part of a multi-level marketing company, you could sign up as a preferred customer under the person who invited you to the call, which would mean you would get wholesale price, you would have a monthly order, and you would be paying exactly the same as we pay as brand partners. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to be tied down to a monthly order. So I thought I would sign up as a brand partner because I would get wholesale price and I could buy it at wholesale anytime that I chose to do so. So that is another way that, we can come into the business, and the person who signs you up gets what's called a product introductory bonus. So if you come in as a customer, they're going to earn off you every month, but you're paying wholesale. If you join, they're going to get a product introductory bonus. But the main ways that we earn are on our binary or team commission. So we build a binary that just means that we have 2 legs. So if you come in and you bring in 4 friends, put 2 on your left, 2 on your right, you become what is known as a manager. And we always say the manager role is the most important rank or role in the company, because that is when you open up the whole compensation plan. And then you start getting these team commission bonuses, which are $50 a time. Now, they all work on volume, and volume comes from everybody who joins underneath you, any customer that buys, and anybody buying their product every month. Because trust me, once you start patching, you keep patching, and we all buy products every month because we don't want to be without it. I never want to be without my product. So our team commissions, different ranks can earn up to different amounts every week, but they are capped at 25,000 US dollars a week. And that's what the top senior presidential directors in the company are earning a week, just from one stream of income. Now, of course, we can't make any guarantees regarding income, because your success or failure is all about how much effort you personally put into building a team. Now, once you're a manager, you also open up something called a matching bonus. And a matching bonus is something that's given to you by the company for helping those people in your team below you. So, for example, on my first level, anybody that I've signed up, so Alex and Nuri are both on my first level, every time they get a cycle bonus, I get 25% of it, but not of their money. The company still gives them their full $50 a time, but they give me 25% of whatever they've earned in a week, saying, well, Merle, you've done a great job, you've helped them. My second line, which is their first line, every time they get cycle bonuses, I get 20%, but they get 25% on it. And my third line, I get 20% on it. Of course, the people who introduce those people will get 25, and the second line will get 20. And of course, that is unlimited. So the more people that you sign up who are building a business, the more 25 and 20% you are getting on your team. And it really, really does add up. So how do you come into LifeWave? I always say you come in where you fit in. So when I joined LifeWave, I never had any ambition to build a business. It was December. I didn't think I could tell people over Christmas about a business. I mean, why would I? I think that was a time that people would actually be looking for something new to do. I know differently now. So I came in on core, which is $295, and it gave me 3 sleeves of patches. Now, the important thing about that is David Schmidt says everybody should patch for 90 days to see a result. Now, as Alex told you, sometimes the result you really want takes longer. So it took her 10 months to be pain-free from her polymyalgia. But in those first 90 days, she did have other benefits, like her hair grew back and her fine lines started growing. So Alex looks much younger now than when she started. And we got photos to prove it. And for lots of us, that, we see that. So I came in, I had 3 sleeves of patches. When I needed more product, I upgraded to advanced. Now, what does that mean? The company allows us to go up to the next package, pay the difference, and get the difference in product. If I knew what I knew now when I joined, I would have started at advanced. Advanced is $535, so you're really getting an amazing discount because you get 6 sleeves of X39. So your 6th sleeve, you're only paying $35 for. You can also take any one sleeve or 2 or 3 or 4 sleeves of your X39 and replace it with 2 of our supplementary patches. Our patches like Ice Wave for pain, Eon for inflammation, Aloe Vera, which is great for your skin and helps you sleep, any of those patches. So you can replace patches. You can customize your pack. But again, the person who invited you can help you with that. And with advanced, you can become a manager straight away. If you come in on core and you bring in your 4 friends, you're going to have to upgrade to advanced that you can become a manager. If you're a serious entrepreneur, you're going to come in on premium, which is $1,750, and it gives you 20 sleeves of X39, but they drop in price to $87.50 a sleeve. And you also don't need to buy any product for 3 months. And on any of these packages, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, my local pharmacy signed up, and the pharmacist was very skeptical. The nursing sister was fully invested. She'd signed up already. The pharmacist said, this is never going to work. She came in on core. In the first week, they upgraded to premium because they were patching people for inflammation and pain in their clinic. The results they had are so phenomenal that she realized she needed more product. And they've now had to employ a second nursing sister who understands how the patches work because they have queues of people every single day waiting to be patched. And they're 2 years into patching. When Alex joined, she actually went and worked in the clinic for a couple of weeks to see the results that they were having, which are absolutely phenomenal. And they still see phenomenal results every single day. Now, once you're in, if you want to keep all the volume that is being generated underneath you, you need to stay active. Same as if you had any kind of store. So if you have a sweet shop and you don't sell sweets, nobody's going to make any money. You have to buy and sell sweets. So the same with LifeWave. So until you're a manager, you need to be active with one sleeve of patches a month, which will keep all your volume. Now, of course, if you're not active, that's fine. You still keep your position in the binary. You're just not going to collect any of the volume that's underneath you. Once you're a manager all the way up to senior presidential director, you only need 2 sleeves of patches a month. So you're not being asked for a lot. So in our household, my husband and I both patch with X39. We patch with other things too, but we each need a sleeve of X39 every month. So that's our 2 sleeves of patches. Till a couple of months ago, I was buying 3 a month because it was my son, my husband, and myself. But my son is now in America and he has his own account. So his patches get delivered to him there off his own account. Because even at 21, he feels a benefit from patching. He has better mental clarity. He has more stamina. He's a chef. He stands in a restaurant all day, or all night, should I say. So he has more stamina that when he exercises, he recovers faster. He sleeps better. So his skin is better. So all of those things, even for somebody who's 21. So Alex told you about this is at info.com. This is at team.com is the business side of the website. Well, it's a separate site, but it's also put together by Steve and Gina, and it's where all the business info is. So if you're the kind of person who says, well, I can't join until I know all about the commission structure, you can go to the commission structure on This Is a Team, and you can watch this variety of webinars from a 10-minute webinar to an hour-long webinar done by different people, so you can go and see who you relate to. There's an onboarding section where it explains how you sign somebody up, how you set up your e-wallet, which is how we get paid. All of those things are there. There's a training by Steve Merritt, how he says you can get to senior director in 90 days. Everything is there for you to take this business and run with it without always having to go back to the person who invited you. Of course, they are going to help you, but everything is there for you. And so it makes it easily duplicatable because if you can watch videos, your team can watch them too. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? There is hope for your future. And it really is all about getting started with X39. When I started with X39, I didn't know that within a year and a half, I was actually going to meet David Schmidt. And he is really the most phenomenal man. He's an absolute genius. I've been in rooms with him several times where he's talking to us about the product and his vision. And he has such a heart for the company. And all he wants is for more and more exciting things to come out. So he has patents on products we don't even know about yet. But there's so much to look forward to with LifeWave. And it's all linked to healing and doing work that's going to benefit everybody in the world. So thanks, Alex, for presenting with me this evening. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call. If you have any questions, go back to the person who invited you. And if they can't answer, they can put you in touch with either Alex or myself or Kim or Caroline or anybody on the call who would be able to answer. And then for those people who have guests, tomorrow night, we're doing a launch on exactly the same link at exactly the same time. So I'm launching somebody in the UK and one of Nuri's downlines. So we're having 2 people launching tomorrow evening on this link this time. So anybody's welcome to invite their guests to that. And then on Wednesday night, there will be a normal presentation, same link, and I'll be presenting with Candace, who is my sponsor. And that's the week. And then there's other presentations tomorrow evening. There's Amanda's presentations on Thursdays, presentation on Saturdays. Their presentations pretty much every single day of the week, but we will share them all on the team group every morning. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye.